Alright, so welcome to the basement, and here we go. Got some unboxing to do. You know, I really don't do much of these types of videos, but you know, I figured I'd document it. I'm starting to enjoy just documenting my fishing hobby in general, and so yeah, I figured I'd do this. I don't buy many reels, and it's been a long time, really, since I bought a reel. Probably going on five years now. Last reel I got was probably my Stratic 3000, and around that time, maybe a year before that, I got the Clash 3000. And those are really the two reels that I use the most. Found an ultralight reel that I use now, a 1000, and I'm kind of looking for that in between, so I want to try to use a 2000 reel. So I stumbled upon the Daiwa Kage, and I'll get into why I selected this, and yeah, we'll take a look at it. Alright, so yeah, so one of the reasons why I chose this reel, it was really between the ballistic. I want to get first of all, I want to get a Daiwa reel. I have a pen reel. I like pen reels. I like Shimano reels, and I do like Daiwa reels. And really the Daiwa that I have is that ultralight 1000, and it's a cheap Daiwa. It's not like a real Daiwa, so I want to see what Daiwa's equivalent to the Stratic, I would say, as far as price goes. I wanted to see how it would perform, and there's really not much about this reel. I mean, there's not like too many reviews and people talking about it. So, I like that. I like giving reels a try that are sort of under the radar, not too super popular. The Stratic is actually probably pretty popular, but there's a reason. It is a very good reel. So it's the 2000D-XH. So I paid roughly $228 with tax. So there you go. I think that's roughly what I paid for my Stratic. I found the $100 to $110, $120 rod coupled with a $200 to $220 reel is, to me, the sweet spot. I don't think it's really worth it to go too much higher than that. And really anything below that, you start noticing a difference. So for me personally, that's what I can afford and what works for me, and I find is the best value, really. So here you go. This is the box. Nothing special. I'm noticing already though, this thing is light. Pretty sure this thing is marketed at 6.2 ounces. It's very light. Oh yeah, this looks tiny. Look at this thing. Wow. This thing is light. Light. Here's the manual.
I'm not open the door. What?
Do give you operating instructions. Awesome. And like, you can see a lot of this is like in Japanese. That's pretty cool. This is important. You can find this online. There's diagrams, but if you are into maintaining your reel or you need parts, all this is actually really important, this diagram to have. I don't service my own reels too much, but I take basic care of them, and I really never have to take them apart. Change out roller bearings here and there. handles, that's it. Really don't mess with it that much. So here's the handle. Comes in plastic. Pretty cool, this cork. Here's a cork. It's pretty nice. It's got an interesting feel to it. The handle. It's pretty nice. And yeah. This is the handle side that I use typically, so just gonna screw it on. So one of the only reviews, or one of the only things that people were saying they didn't like about this reel is it didn't make a sound when the bail would close over. And I see what they're saying. I don't hear it. But that's not really a problem for me because I'm always, you know, I never click back my reel like that. Whenever I cast, I always flip the bail manually. It's just a habit because that's what I was used to when, you know, 15, 20 years ago as a teenager buying cheaper reels. They didn't have that. They didn't have the, you know, you reel this and you click like that. So I got into the habit of just always flipping it over, and I think it's better actually to do that because you can damage the, I think the gear right here that clicks it back in like that. So if you do that too much, it's just not good. Wow. This is smooth. Yeah, just by the weight of the handle. See, does it... Oh yeah. Just the weight of the handle makes it turn. I don't, even though I fish saltwater, I don't think the MQ series from Daiwa is really worth it. Really, it's like a technology that's unnecessary for me. I don't need a sealed reel. I'm not fishing, you know, where my reel is getting water submerged and stuff like that. And when you have a sealed reel like that, number one, it's gonna reduce the smoothness no matter what. And number two, if you have to go service that, or you have a problem, or you need to refill that oil that's in there, it's going to be costly. So I see no issue if you properly rinse your reels after every time you fish and make sure you don't dunk them. And if you do, you immediately dunk them back with fresh water and dry them out properly. Yeah, I've never had a problem with reels. Using freshwater stuff in saltwater environments, I've never had a problem. So, yeah, so this is instant reverse too. You know, pretty much the standard for all reels. I can remember a time too when the reels didn't have that instant reverse. There would be like, you know, they click back to the next loop like this. When you'd set the hook, the bail would actually fully rotate like one time until it stopped. But yeah, it's reels have come a long way. This is a I'm pretty sure it's a 9 ball bearings. I think it's like 8 bearings and then like 1 center bearing or something like that. Just gonna test the drag. And this is 11 pounds of drag, which is more than enough for me. My Stratic is 20 pounds, and that little 1000 reel is probably like 4 or 6 pounds. So this is a perfect in between. 11 pounds of drag. I might actually put 10 pound braid on here. Since I'm using 8 pound for the 1000, I'll probably put 10 pound braid on this, which should break, you know, somewhere around 12, 14 pounds, maybe even a little higher. And with 11 pounds of drag, you know, I probably won't put that at 11 pounds, but you know, I want the drag to be at like 6 pounds. So yeah, half. You want your drag to be about half. It all depends. Half of the line. Wow. Yeah. Usually, you know, you leave what it comes with, but I think you usually want to put, you know, something like oil. Use oil for the bearings, and use grease for the gears. So yeah, that's really all you need. And then, and lastly, it comes with these little pieces, and these look like the, I have to double check, but these look like the drag washers. You can see them stacked here, and there's 3 of them stacked, and they give me 4. I'm pretty sure. Looks good. So yeah, now we just gotta spool it up, put it on the rod. Gonna put it on that new rod that I modified. That kind of drag can get pretty tight. Yeah, that drag can get really tight. Wow, I am very, very excited to test this thing out. Shimano Terramar. Might be hard to read. This is the rod that I modified. You can see that video. I'll leave a link. But you'll see here. This was a 6'6", and I cut off the last tip. And now it's a like a 6 foot. So let's see if the weight is good. It's just, this reel feels so light. See how many turns I get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's pretty much 6. Around 6 rotations per crank. And I'll have to check the specs. I'll just leave it right here. But that's how many inches of line per crank. And it's actually really good. So even though the handle doesn't feel large, and I don't have a nice big knob or anything like that, you know, I'm really not, this reel's not meant to, you know, gain tons of line. We're not fishing 100, 200 feet with this reel. I mean, it feels good. It feels really good. So the rod, it's balanced at right around there. But yeah, there you go. Pretty excited to get that guy going. You just have to feel like the rod in your hand, you know. You don't want the balance actually to be too far up here, because then your hand, when you're holding the rod, just like wants to go forward. So if you hold it like this, yeah, it's pretty good. But you don't really want to hold it back here too much. This is good right here. Just testing out the drag. You know, I can't really test the smoothness without putting some line on it, but it seems pretty good. So say this is This is where you're gonna set the hook with that kind of power. It's pretty tight. 1, 2. Yeah, it's still, you know, in between. 1, 2. Now that's loose. So I'd say like 4 full cranks on the drag gets me from like, you know, hook set power to like letting the fish run a lot. So it's actually a pretty good range. I can feel it. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna mess with the knob. I think I'm gonna leave that. It has a nice feel to it. It has a really nice feel. So that's it. You know, not much else to say or show really, but yeah, looking forward to using that back out on the water. So, you know, thanks again guys for watching, and see you on the next one.